Hi guys, it's April, and I need to talk about Aurora Rising. I really need to. And with that being said, I will do this book review the same way I do all of my other book reviews. I will have the non-spoiler section up front, followed by the word vomit that is probably going to happen because, guys, I read this in a day. So, Aurora Rising by Kristoff and Amie Kaufman. Part of me knew I was going to like this because I really enjoyed their Illuminae files. And now with the Aurora cycle, I'm pretty sure this is going to be another series that I truly enjoy. Aurora Rising starts out in the year 2380 at the Aurora Academy, where several students are waiting to be assigned for their first mission. One of these students is Tyler, who can't sleep, so he decides to go for an extracurricular flight. As he is out flying in the middle of nowhere, he receives an SOS signal, and this leads to a whole bunch of things that, oh my gosh, yes, please. Now this book, to me, as I was reading through it, it reminded me a lot of Star Trek. It reminded me a lot of Firefly. It reminded me a lot of Area X. It also reminded me a lot of the Expanse series. All of those things I really like. It plays with all of these sci-fi tropes, much like the Illuminae file. To some people, that might not be what they're looking for, but because of the way these characters are written and the way they are developed and how they interact with each other, I really like these tropes. I don't know what it is. The whole time I was reading this, I was all over the place, super excited about everything. I couldn't stop. I basically started it thinking that, oh, it would just be a nice brain switch. I needed a sci-fi. Hadn't heard a whole lot about the book in general, and then it just, I couldn't put it down. I was constantly trying to find an excuse to read it, and trust me, right now, my life is chaos, and I don't have a lot of time to read. So the fact that I read this in a day is kind of amazing. The story is centered around a very hodgepodge group of people, and the way they start off the book and the way they dedicate the book for the outcast who have found their squad, who are still looking for their squad. I liked it. I think Amie Kaufman and Kristoff as a team write really well. They have a way of really trapping you in the story, which I think is why I couldn't put it down. Kristoff, particularly, I have always really gotten into his stories, even when I am uncomfortable with them, even when I don't want to be reading them. Somehow he hooks me in, and I think Amie Kaufman, she just kind of rounds him out very well. So this was a sci-fi adventure that I needed at this point in my time. There is a lot of trying to figure out what is going wrong, but one thing I will note is that you can't compare this to the Illuminae files. The Illuminae files were written in a way that you're compiling all of this documentation together, whereas Aurora Rising is very much a traditional story format where you're flipping through different perspectives of the characters and the cast, and the story unfolds that direction. Now this is a first book in a series, and I really am excited about the rest of the series. I will probably do reviews over all of them, especially if they hook me the way that this first book did. I need to go buy it. I made the mistake of just deciding to read it from the library, and now I need to own it. Please. And of course, there are so many other things that I want to say about this read, but I want you guys to go and experience it for yourself because I really liked it, and I want to talk to some of you guys about it, or all of you guys about it. So go read the book and come back and we'll talk about it, or just leave a comment down below telling me that you've read it or you're going to read it. I just, please. And this is the point in which I am going to switch over into the spoiled filled thoughts. So go away, because I don't want to spoil you if you haven't read this book, because there are some things. Like I mentioned previously, this book reminded me a lot, in particularly, of The Expanse and Area X. Both of those sci-fi stories play with the concept of some kind of sentient, almost plant-like being is taking over. And so when I started seeing the plants coming out of the eyeballs and them being driven as if zombie-like and controlled that way, immediately I started going in that direction of, okay, there's some kind of entity, which it might be vindictive or it just might not understand anything quite on the same level of us. It doesn't interpret things that way. And for whatever reason, that is a plot line that I'm really starting to enjoy. There was also, I didn't know how I was going to feel about this at first, but as it started playing out, I was more and more okay with it, with the instant love between a couple of the characters, but I think given the background and the species involved, especially since some of the species are so Vulcan-like, I'm kind of okay with it, especially since Aurora wasn't 100% on board. She was willing to explore it, but she wasn't like, yes, take me now, there's a boy who likes me. I like the fact that the possibility is there to have this very mate-like bond. And it's one of those things that I'm really excited about exploring in future books. I also like how all of the characters are just all over the place. They're not like one another, both in personality and in race and in looks and species. I like it. I like how it's all hodgepodge. So where do I think this is going in the future? The cliffhanger that this ended on, I don't think we have lost in the way that it wants us to believe at this cliffhanger. I believe there is going to be a way to come back from all of it, at least I'm hoping, because there are some things. And I guess even if we can't, it will be interesting to explore how this affects some of the characters emotionally. I like how Kristoff and Amie Kaufman aren't afraid to get rough with their characters. So I'm excited to see where that goes as well. Tell me down below if you have read this book, because I need to throw some things out into the universe and have discussions about this book because it just is in my brain and it won't go away. So please talk to me down below, and I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.